Good afternoon and welcome to your first School Improvement Plan group meeting of session 21-22. There are 3 meetings like this across the year, and the work that you will do will drive forward our improvement plan. I thought it was a good opportunity just to speak to you briefly about our improvement plan. I know that I have shared our improvement plan via email, and that's available for you all to look at exactly what we're going to be working on this year as a school community. However, there are some aspects of the 4 priorities that I just want to kind of tease out because it relates directly to the work that you're going to be doing over your next 3 meetings and your time in between. So in terms of our improvement plan, we have to take cognizance of the contents of the National Improvement Framework. The Scottish Government have set out excellence and equity as being the main focus of the National Improvement Framework. And on the right-hand side of the screen there, you should be able to see the main drivers of the National Improvement Framework. So we take that on board when creating our improvement plan. The other thing we have to be very mindful of is our statutory duties as a school. So the documents that are all listed there, of which there are quite a few, all filter into our improvement plan, and we have certain obligations that we have to fulfil to make sure that our pupils are safe and to make sure that they are included in the school environment. So that also plays a part in our school improvement planning cycle. Obviously, we have our curriculum that we have to deliver. That's set out in the Broad General Education as the experiences and outcomes in our Curriculum for Excellence programme. And in the senior phase is SQA, who set out the standards and who dictate what is in the course. And as we know, we've had 2 years of disruption due to COVID, and so there have been quite a few changes there. So I would just urge you at this point to make sure as practitioners that you are engaging with the understanding standards section of your subject specific pages in SQA to make sure that what you're delivering is covered in the exam at the end of the year. And at the moment, we are working towards an exam diet at the end of April through to the beginning of June. So our improvement plan has to reflect changes in curriculum. It has to reflect the experiences, not only the content, but the experiences that our young people have to take part in during their time at Greenwood Academy in the Broad General Education there as well. And of course, all of our reflective work that we do using How Good Is Our School For, that really identifies any gaps in the provision that we have here at Greenwood Academy. It also challenges to think about what we could do better at Greenwood Academy and highlights the aspects of what we deliver here as being a really effective practice. And that helps us to determine what our school improvement plan is going to look like. And of course, our school values as well. We have decided in our school values as a school community, and we have to make sure that what we're working on throughout session 21-22 reflect the values of our school community. So to that end, our 4 priorities remain unchanged, and they have been unchanged for the last 2 years. They're very closely aligned to the National Improvement Framework, and they reflect our self-evaluation. Remember, just before we broke up for session 2021, we did a consultation exercise with pupils, with staff and with parents, and asked them to think about all the things that we could perhaps work on this year in terms of school improvement. So that's been taken into consideration, and we have our 4 school priorities. Getting into just a little bit more detail, pages 7 through to page 11 of the improvement plan focuses on priority 1, so the raising attainment and including literacy and numeracy there. So we want to make sure this year that our literacy and numeracy periods reflect what is going on across the school, because really the rationale behind those periods is not only to strengthen literacy and numeracy of our young people, but it is also to bring in some of the aspects that you know across the curriculum can be a barrier to young people. So for example, calculations in science. Sometimes it's not the science content that holds them back, but it can be the numeracy work and their ability to handle numbers and understand that. Also, command words in different subject areas. getting people used to the command words and getting them to understand their meaning and what has to be written down in order to get marks for that. That can be brought in and through our literacy periods shared with people. So it's about us all contributing to literacy and numeracy to make sure that our skills of our young people are strengthened, that when they come to the national qualifications, they're in a better position in order to gain marks and improve outcomes for themselves. We also want to make sure that we're meeting the needs of young people. So again, in priority 1, we'll find that differentiation is there. And it's not just differentiation of the work in terms of the content, but differentiation of tasks. It could be chunking work up for certain pupils. Differentiation means so many different things, but that's definitely in there because we need to explore that as a school and move that forward. Of course, high quality lessons, pace and challenge is in there in priority 1, and the new GTC standards for education are in there as well for all levels. So that's just a snapshot of what priority 1 is all about for us as practitioners here at Greenwood Academy. We're also going to be focusing on trying to drive up the standards of the number of pupils achieving hires across the board. And you can see that, we had that as a priority last year. Our figures seem to show in S5 that we've made improvement there, but we need to just keep our eye on S6 and make sure that pupils who are in S5, S6 are achieving the best qualifications that they can. So we'll continue to monitor and track in there, and we're using our statistics from last year to show that we've made improvement and also that we've got still further improvement to make there. Priority 2, we'll continue to work with Skills Development Scotland. So priority 2 is round about employability, sustained positive destinations. And as I mentioned, they will continue to work with our partner Skills Development Scotland in order to drive this forward. We had a meeting the other week there, and we spoke about all the engagement activities through PSE and out within the school. But as practitioners, remember just to include career pathways into your lessons. Make sure that you're speaking to young people about possibilities in your subject area and what that can lead to as part of our commitment right across the school to strengthen career management skills. The other thing that's in there as well is also our partnership working with Developing Young Workforce in Ayrshire and Prince's Trust. We launched the Skills Academy a year and a half ago, and we want to continue that work as we make sure that our curriculum is fit for purpose and that we are giving pupils lots of different choice in the curriculum and that they're able to do skills for work courses to enhance in what they're doing in the senior phase. So that work is in there as well. Also in priority 2 is our continued commitment to developing digital skills across the school. So through lockdown, we were already quite far along that pathway in terms of training, but through lockdown, my goodness, we had to get up to speed with digital learning. And I know that we use obviously Satchel 1 as our main platform of sharing what we're doing with young people and parents, but also driving forward the other digital platforms there. Google Classroom, Teams are also used, and getting them familiar in using Forms, Sway and that sort of thing. So our commitment to that is reflected in priority 2. Priority 3 is all about getting young people participating again. The focus in priority 3 is about participation or increasing participation for pupils and for parents and families across the school. So as you can imagine there, we're really reflecting on the document participation in education in the 3 to 18 setting, and trying to drive forward not only clubs, extracurricular, but community involvement there as well. And as restrictions lift, we're able to do that more than we've been able to do in the last couple of years. Also, our commitment to working with family learning team is in there in priority 3, and make sure that we are supporting our families at home as well. We obviously did things like community cooking. We had parents in partnership where the parents come into the school. We've had to think about different ways of doing that, but there's been a meeting already this session about how we're going to take that forward. So priority 3 is all about increasing participation, because what we know is when young people and parents and families are involved in the school community, then that is reflected in their commitment to learning and indeed the outcomes of young people in terms of qualifications. Priority 4 is all about nurturing young people and about their health and well-being. So we want to make sure that the 6 principles of nurture are displayed right across the school, and there'll be further training on that. And I know that our nurture staff will be driving this forward, so that the work that's going on in nurture is then reflected in the classroom setting, and you know what the strategies are for particular young people. We also did a piece of work where we introduced our reflecting positive relationships policy and restorative practice. We're going to be embedding that further. We're going to be supporting across the school and establishing a group to really look at how we can support young people, as well as bespoke pathways and individualised curriculum to meet the needs of young people. So that's in there as well in priority 4. And of course, we know all of the things that enhance the well-being of young people. Outdoor learning, the fact that equality and diversity is supported in the school as we work towards the LGBT Charter. Our work with health and social care partnership, and that extended team of people who can support families, because we know we have families in crisis in Greenwood Academy, and we know that it's larger than just education. So that's reflected in there in priority 4. And as we look at staged intervention for the young people, that is being reviewed in North Ayrshire. So we will play our part in that as well, and we will engage in moderation at cluster level to make sure that our families are supported. Again, we've got participation in there as well, because we know when young people feel part of our school community, then they are more willing to engage in education, and they feel valued, and they set themselves goals, and they push themselves forward. So that's, in a nutshell, what the 20 pages of the improvement plan are. But I would urge all of you to go back and look at that, because it gives step by step what we're going to be working on as a school community. But I suppose for me, it's about your role as a member of a school improvement plan group. We obviously, from what I've said in the national context and from our self-evaluation, identify what we're going to work on as a school. We then develop our school improvement plan using consultation from all stakeholders, and we set up school improvement plan groups in order to drive aspects of the improvement plan forward. Now, this will be driven forward in subject areas as well, because there are subject plans, but we're talking about how do we drive forward aspects of the school improvement plan that are the responsibility of all of us that sit at whole school level. And that's what your group that you're in today is for. It's about leading change. It's about making sure that you're empowered to come up with ideas and to make sure that you are supported in that. So you'll see in the improvement plan, there is, for example, just a box that says what we're going to be working on, but we need to put that into action. And that's where your group plays a real key part in driving that forward. So what I'm looking for from school improvement plan groups is to take whichever aspect of the school improvement plan that you're responsible for, think about how we action that, what we'll need to do as a school. And if that means you require a little bit of time on in-service days, or you require time at the whole school meetings in order to share what you're doing, then come forward and speak to me about that, because I'm more than happy to support. By all working together, this is how we'll drive things forward. And I just thought it was quite good just to highlight the importance of the school improvement groups, and to make sure that you know that you're driving forward aspects of the improvement plan, which we are all committed to improving the young people's outcomes, and that's how we'll work together. So enjoy your meeting, and in a nutshell, that's our improvement plan, and that's your role for your group. Think about what you need to do to drive that aspect forward. Think about timeframes. Think about maybe work that's required between now and the next meeting, and then think about if you need time or in service days, coming forward and talking to me about that, so that it can be featured in the planning aspect of it. So enjoy the rest of your meeting. I hope your planning goes well, and I look forward to hearing what you're going to be taking forward in Greenwood Academy.